Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the REDX Podcast. I am so glad that you're here. Of course, we have one of my favorite guests, of course, Joe Rosen. Welcome back to the podcast. How are you doing?
Thank you, ma'am. I'm incredible. It's always great to see your smiley face.
Of course. We love having you on. Your spirit, your energy, it's just amazing. So I'm excited to talk to you today and get into a topic that we haven't really talked to you about on the podcast before. So I'm excited to get into it. But before we do, Joe, if people haven't seen you on our content, which if they're on our content, they should see you everywhere. But if they haven't, could you give us a little brief intro?
Yeah, I'm a real estate agent down in Port St. Lucie, Florida, which is about an hour north of West Palm Beach on the East Coast. And I've been down here for almost 6 years. Before that, I was a real estate agent up in Minnesota for, I believe it was 5 years, St. Cloud, Minnesota. And in between there, I somehow managed to put 10 years into the Army as an active duty Arabic linguist. So that's the gist of Joe Rosen.
Amazing. I love it. Yeah, we've talked a lot about your history in the military and how that has helped you in real estate. And you were just such an interesting guy. You've lived an incredible life, and you're still killing it, right? So let's get into we're talking today. So for everybody that doesn't know, we recently released our Teams platform. We haven't had a team solution ever in the history of REDX, and we just released it back in November. And so I wanted to bring on Joe because he's a team leader. And I wanted to talk to you, Joe, about first, did you immediately join a team and how you went about building the team that you have today? So let's start there. Did you immediately join a team when you entered into real estate? Talk to me about that.
So when I was in Minnesota, I was in my 20s, right? I'm 42 now. So that was quite a while ago. And I hope he doesn't watch this. He's a phenomenal guy, but he was a horrible team lead. He had come up to me and said, "Hey, Joe, do you want to join my team?" And I said, "Yeah, who's on your team?" He's like, "Oh, just me." And he was an agent who'd been in for probably 8, 10, 12 years. He knew what he was doing, but he really just wanted a portion of my sales. He didn't really help me with anything. He didn't really do anything. Yeah, I could call him if I had a question, but I could have called my broker if I had a question, right? So I didn't really know what I was getting into. It was a dumb move, but I will say, and I say this about business all the time, make dumb moves. It's okay. It didn't end my career. It didn't even come close to ending my career. And I learned a little bit about the difference between what a good team should be and what a bad team should be. So I was probably with him for about 6 months before I had a lot of agents come up to me and say, "What are you doing? Are you getting any value out of that? Why would you give up all that money? Get off that team." And so I did. And I was a single agent for the rest of my career there. And then down here in Port St. Lucie, for the first 7 months, I was a single agent. And I was just zoned in to, I got to get my business rolling. Yeah. I didn't know anybody here because I was stationed out in Washington on the other side of the planet. And so I just had to get this business going. And then finally, my now dear friend, Lizette Hurtado, came up to me, and she'd been watching me on social media. We'd met at a couple things, and she said, "Hey, I want to join your team." And I said, "Funny thing about that, I don't have a team." And she said, "Well, figure it out, man, make one." And so that was the beginning of our team journey. I remember telling her, it's going to suck for a couple months because I have no clue what I'm doing, and I'm going to fail miserably. But if you trust me to work hard and you trust my intent, let's try this sucker out. So that was the beginning of the team.
Wow. Okay. So it kind of happened almost by accident, right?
100% by accident. Yeah.
That's crazy. I didn't know that. So talk to me a little bit about those growing pains, because I mean, you're a single agent. You only have to worry about yourself, right? And then all of a sudden, so she joined your team then, right?
Yep.
So did you just have you and her for a while, or?
Yeah, probably. I mean, it was so long ago, I can't remember now, but probably for a good 3, 4, 5 months. I was big into, I've always been a Ricky Carruth fan. I'm a big Gary Vaynerchuk fan. A lot of different leaders like that who just believe, I don't need to understand the math of how it works, but if I give, I know I'm going to get. And I think REDX is a lot like that too, right? So my whole thought was, if I'm going to give training to Lizette, I might as well just open it up to the entire industry here locally, and they can all come. We'll have it at my house, or we'll have it at a restaurant, or whatever we got to do, but open it up to everybody. Or we'd start to do it on Zoom or, StreamYard like this, or whatever it is, so we could open it up to everybody. And again, it wasn't purposeful, but with that intent came the attraction, and other agents started coming on. So I've literally At our peak, it's come down a little bit now, but at our peak, I think I had 57 agents with me, and I've never recruited an agent in my life. It's all been through, I guess there's a recruiting tip. It's all been through just massive attraction through offering value to other agents. Give them your checklist, give them your marketing ideas, give them your scripts, give them, hey, you should call REDX. Here's how it's going to help you. It's super affordable. It makes 100% sense. Give them your trainings, give them all that stuff, and it starts to attract agents way better, in my opinion, than getting on the phone and trying to cold call them. Like, hold events and attract them that way.
Wow. Okay. So you said how many? 57? Was that your peak?
At our peak. Now we're down from that. But yeah, that was where we were at our peak.
Wow. Okay. So then I want to talk about like how you, did you have a pretty clear strategy going into like building a team and for just like real estate? Like, did you have a prospecting regimen that you were like, okay, everybody do this and this will work for you? Or like, talk to me like how you brought on those agents and what you told them.
Yeah. So I think at first it was me looking at, okay, what am I doing that's working for me successfully? Because I was having great individual agent success.
Right.
So my thought at that point was, I just need to share with you what I'm doing and you'll just copy it. Right. But it doesn't happen that way because I also had all those experiences before in Minnesota selling that they didn't have. I had all the Army experiences, which gives me leadership experiences and organizational experiences, checklist experiences, all these different things that have helped me immensely that I don't even really think about because it's so ingrained in my brain from the Army. So it was just trial and error, really, saying, okay, if I were a new agent and I joined the perfect team, how often would they have training? So we started doing training every Tuesday and Thursday. It was 11 to 12. And that's just always been our training schedule. And I would say probably 80% of those are through Zoom because agents tended to like to do it through Zoom, right? And we would come up with all kinds of different topics. I would open up to them what they want to do. Then we started finding that, to get a little more organization, maybe we need to create quarterly calendars. So we started in December, we would create Q1 schedule. In March, we'd create Q2 schedule. And it would be every Tuesday, Thursday. Then we said, how about we add in our vendors? Let's get our inspector to give a training once a quarter, our lender, our title, our insurance, all four of those. I call them the big four. Let's give them all an opportunity to come in, educate us, and to create relationships with them and our agents so they're comfortable using them. So that really helped out a lot, right? So that was kind of the training portion of it. Then we started doing videos where we would record videos on the biggest things that I thought you were going to use. So like we've got a REDX video. This is how you log in. This is how you go find your leads. This is how you download them, blah, 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 blah. Right. And our CRM and whatever thing I didn't think they knew. And you kind of figure it out by them saying, Joe, I saw you do this. I have no clue how you did that. How did you do it? Don't answer the question. Go make a video. Now you can share it with them in a video. They can pause it, slow it down, speed it up, whatever. And you can share it with the 73 agents that are coming behind them without having to re-explain. So that's just training. But with training, that's how we attack that. But then, just to quickly go through some other things, we started doing performance tracking. We started doing goals in December. We started doing goal reviews monthly and quarterly. We started a Facebook DM thread where the expectation is, I always tell them, your job is to fill this thing with so much fire every day that we know there's one agent on our team who's watching Netflix today and they don't feel like working. You should excite them so much, inspire them that they get their butt off the couch and they start making calls because they're jealous of all the fun, excitement, and business that we're putting through the ringer, right?
Oh, yeah.
So that's the goal with that, is to get that sucker rolling. And we had a Facebook group, we still do that we run to put out a lot of different things that we're doing. We try to love up on the agents. So I had to pull in a staff and say, hey, birthdays, closings, under contract, they hit their weekly goal on conversations. I don't care if they pick their nose right. I want something up there in our Facebook group, a graphic that really congratulates them on what they did. So we've done a lot of that. So there's so many aspects of being a solid team. And honestly, I think the more you do and the more you figure out, the more you find that there's more to do and the less you truly know about how to run a great team, right?
That's powerful. I love that. And I love just telling me all of these different things that you do for your team shows like what a benefit it is to be on a team, right? Like you have accountability, you have people that are sharing their successes, like you have there's something about just the team structure that just like camaraderie, like people want to they want to win and see others win. And it's like, I love that. So I'm curious for people that are like, excuse me. I'm like so excited. I can't talk.
That's a great problem. I like that problem.
For those that aren't on a team, like what would you say is the biggest reason like people should join teams? And I'll leave that up to you.
So I'll say this, the only reason not to get on a team, assuming it's a decent team, right? Because there's teams you want to be on, teams you don't want to be on. The only reason not to be on a team is because it's going to cost you money. Right? You're going to have to pay whatever split to your team lead or however that particular deal works. That's the only reason not to. If you're a new agent, you all know there are a ton of things you do not understand about real estate. I've been doing this for a bazillion years and I've sold a bazillion homes, and there's all kinds of things I don't know about real estate, right? And if I were to learn them all today, in 3 months, you could come ask me, and with new rule changes and law changes, and I'd be behind the ball again, right? So you really want that educational base. You want the support at 9:03 p.m. on a Tuesday when you've got a client ready to sign. Good luck getting your broker, most brokers, not all brokers, to pick up at that time. You want someone who's going to take the time to walk you through contracts. If you go find the top guy in your office, he's going to give you 5-10 minutes and help you through things, but he's not going to walk you through a 2-hour contract. He's not going to do it 17 times. You've got to invest in somebody, right? So top agents invest in coaches. I invest in a coach. I burn money on a coach. Why would I do that? Because I know I'm going to get way more back because of this person holding me to certain accountability standards and putting things in my mind that maybe I even know. I don't know that he ever tells me anything I don't know, to be honest, but he's reminding me of things that I'm not seeing because I'm so focused on the details of, you know what I'm saying? He's looking macro. I'm so focused on the micro. I got horse blinders on. He's able to plant those little seeds. And I'm like, that's true. I got to pull back a little. Your team is going to do that for you. And if you don't have guidance like that, if you're not investing in that, right, you're already in the mindset of, I don't want to invest in my business. That's a rough thing to say. Now, agents have been successful without teams. But you don't need to be on a team forever. You can be on a team for a year, 2 years. And then if you think you kind of learned 80, 90, 100% of what they've got to teach you, get out of there. Go do your I tell my guys all the time, if you've been here for 2 years and you don't feel like you can leave me, I have failed you. That's my job. Within 2 years, you should be able to leave me. If you want to stay, but you should be equipped to be able to leave me. So I really think so many agents are so worried about collecting all their dollars, but you know, the common response to that is, what's 100% of zero? If you're not going to sell any homes because you don't know what the hell you're doing, you can't keep a contract together, you can't build a rapport with people, you don't know the scripts, you don't know who REDX is, good luck getting leads. How are you going to make any closings happen anyway? So now you're getting 100% of zero versus whatever percent you've agreed upon with a team times maybe 10, 15, 20, 30 closings. And again, you can leave at any time. So just get in there and get a knowledge base.
Yeah, it makes me think of the fail rate in real estate, right? People get in expecting success and listings and all of this stuff. And if they're not on a team or they don't have like a coach or anyone that really guides them, like you can see why the fail rate is where it's at. And if you join a team where you have structure, you have somebody that has done it before, they are successful, they know what they're doing. And you have other people that are on that team as well doing the same thing. Like I just can imagine that it would be so much easier to be successful. I mean, it's not easy, you know, no. Real estate's not easy. I'm not saying that, but it can help you skip a little bit of the learning curve, right? Do you agree? Big time. I'll tell you one other thing too. I see, even on the team, this is true, right? There's an 87% failure rate in real estate. Every 5-year span, 87% are gone. That's true on my team. Maybe it's 80, maybe it's 90, but it's right around there. What I find is most agents get in and they are attracted to showing homes.
look at my fancy car, look at my fancy purse. I want to dress up and look good. I want to go to that listing appointment. I want to put Facebook photos out. I want to do a YouTube video. Actually, I wish they'd do more of those. But what it comes down to, and you know this being REDX, is you got to make conversations happen. It doesn't have to be REDX, but it's got to be something. You got to do open houses, call expireds, call FSBOs, knock doors, go do somersaults in the middle of the road. I don't care what you do, but you got to create some real estate conversations. That is the least attractive thing to realtors, which it makes zero sense to me. You need somebody who has actually sold homes to say, hey, you quit posting on Facebook and get your butt on the phones. Once you've got 15 conversations in today, go post those Facebook posts, right? But until then, get your butt on the phones and start making conversations. If you don't have a team lead kicking you in the butt, telling you to do that, you're going to be attracted to the thing that is the easiest and the most comfortable, which is not the thing that's going to get you sales.
I love that. I think that's so powerful because, of course, like people get into the industry and REDX isn't the sexiest, shiniest toy, right? It's like a gym membership. You have to actually put in the work in order for it to work for you. And so it's not something that people are like, oh, I can't wait to get REDX, but it's what the lifeblood of a business, right? Conversations is ultimately what is going to get you your goals. And that's why, I mean, we've talked about metrics a lot, Joe, and you know your numbers down to the dials and how many dials you need to make to get to your goals. And that's what's crazy. A lot of people don't even know that they need to make dials in order to be successful in real estate. And like the amount of conversations you have is directly correlated with the success you have in real estate. Right. And no matter how, like you said, you don't even have to have REDX. You can have conversations in the grocery store. You can call people up. You talk to your sphere of influence, actually call them up and talk to them. But it's crazy how much effort people will put in to just try to not do that. Right.
Yep. 100%. I do want to say too, I disagree with you. I think REDX is incredibly sexy. The sexiest of all data providers.
Thank you. Actually, I should give us some more credit.
There's a 10-second TikTok video for you.
Yes, exactly. That's awesome. Well, I was wondering too, so you became a team leader on accident, like we were talking about. But if you're talking, let's talk to maybe someone who wants to start a team.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to them? Like, when should they feel like they're ready to do that? Like, let's talk about that.
I've never answered this question, so I have no clue what's about to come out of my mouth. Ooh. But I would say this. I think there are a lot of team leaders who start a team because they feel like they've kind of maxed out on money making, right? I'm doing 60, 70 hours or whatever your limit is as an individual. And there's not really a way to increase my sales substantially unless I do 80 hours or 90 hours, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to start a team. That's another revenue stream. I'm all about revenue streams. This is a business, right? But if your intent is money, it's going to be rough for you, and it's going to be rough for your agents. And in all honesty, if you have a different intent, you'll make more money. So the intent you really got to have is, how do I absolutely crush it for these people who don't know anything about real estate? They don't know what prospecting is. They don't know who REDX is. They don't even know what to train themselves on or where to find the training. They don't know how to read a contract or how to fill it out. How do I go to bat for these guys? How do I prioritize? Does it matter how to learn StreamYard? Yes. But is that more important than learning REDX, which gets you conversations? No. You need to be able to prioritize what matters and get them to focus on it. You've also got to be a visionary. You've got to have a vision for these guys, and you've got to be fired up about it, consistent about it. You've got to have core values, and you've got to be sending the same precise message all the time. If you start veering off your message, if you start saying one thing, but you're doing another thing, you're going to lose their attention because they're going to think you're a hypocrite. You're not doing it. You want us to do all the work and make you money. You've got to be the number one. You've got to be the guy or the gal that they look up to, and you've got to be putting in more work than they do. I hate it. We track consistently our conversations by day, every day at 8:30 in the morning and 4:30 in the afternoon. My staff and our Facebook thread puts this graphic that shows how many conversations we've got throughout the week. I hate it when I'm not in the lead. It drives me bonkers because I think now my agents are looking at me like big talk, no act. And I don't like that. So you'll rarely see me not in first place. And it's not because I'm amazing. It's because I need to, as a leader, be that leader. Now, that doesn't mean you've got to be the top cold caller. Some people don't do anything. There's a guy in our market here locally who I don't think makes a lot of calls at all. I don't think he lists a lot of homes or anything. He's more of the kind of like the ISA for his team. And he's trying to schedule appointments and everything else, but he doesn't go on any appointments. And that's one way to do it too. That's probably not how I'd start a team, but that's one way to do it too. So the way I do it isn't the way you've got to do it, but the intent matters. Honestly, having core values matters. Really sit down and decide what are the core values that I need to have. And those are values you need to share with your guys. But if you're not committed to training, if you're not committed to, and you don't have to have this, but look at REDX. REDX has been an amazing tool for me. I've been able to offer my guys unlimited leads. Guys, we're going to get an account. We're going to have unlimited leads. You can make all these calls. Here's how you fill your CRM. And forget the fact that you're going to call 300 people today and you're going to get 40 to pick up and you're going to get 1, 2, 3 really strong leads that are in the future going to close with you. You're going to have 300 leads in your CRM that you can set up on automations. And now, having been with you guys for 5, 6 years, I've got a CRM filled in 5, 6 years with 80,000 leads that now have all these automations. So when I get a brand new listing, I can do a reverse engineer and I can find everybody who's got a, there's no way I could do that without REDX, right? So you've got to find, so you don't have to, but it's going to be a lot more attractive if you're trying to attract agents to have some sort of lead source that you're providing. And I think like they talk about, I don't remember the quote. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's one thing to teach a man a fish. It's another thing to give him a fish, right? And if you give him the fish, yeah, you're feeding him, but you're not really showing him how to do it himself. And I think REDX is the best teach him how to fish thing there is in real estate. You've got to figure out how to go out there and create conversation. You look at Zillow, man, now I'm going on a REDX pitch here.
Hey, I love it.
You go to Zillow and you're paying all this money to get someone who you've got to call and you've got to follow up with, and you've got to show them homes, or you got to go list their home. You got to do all the same things that you would do if you made some REDX calls, found that same person. Now you don't have to pay Zillow that huge ass fee, and you've got to do all the same work. It makes no sense to me why you wouldn't get a company like REDX, but that's not my pitch. I'll get off my REDX soapbox here. My pitch is you've got to find value, whether it's leads, training, your core values, hand-holding, availability, whatever it is, culture, and you've got to have a clear message to drive that home with your guys.
I love that. I think that totally resonates with everything that you're saying too. It's like, it's not about the money. You just need to give, and that will come. And that is like, I love that sentiment. And I think that's so true because of course, like somebody who's doing too many deals, but still wants to scale is like, oh yeah, let's start a team. But like somebody wants to join a team that is passionate, like a team leader that's passionate, that wants you to succeed, that is like, has core values, like you're saying, like you want to be a team that people want to join. And so I love that. I'm curious, like, as people have come onto your team, and maybe this is advice for team leaders or people that want to start a team, and like, how do you ensure like accountability and like performance from your agents? Because like I can have core values and I can talk about like you can have trainings and all of this stuff, but like when it comes to the nitty gritty, you kind of like they need to be producing, right? Like what do you put in place to make sure that your agents are successful?
100%. So great question. Probably the best question. We track, I think it's 12 different numbers. It's conversations, appointments set buyers, appointments set sellers, appointments met buyers, appointments met sellers, offers submitted, listings that hit the MLS, under contract buyers, under contract sellers, closed buyers, closed sellers, and commissions in pocket, right? It is 12. Amazing. So we track those 12 numbers, and we've got a Google Sheets that we created. It's an amazing tracker my staff created. And if you don't know how to create one of these or you don't want to or whatever, go find Sisu, SISU. Go find, what's the other one? CTE, right? It's just Cat Tango Echo. It's CTE. Both are wonderful companies for tracking. You enter your daily metrics, and now you're able to see what it is it takes you to get an appointment. How many appointments does it take me to get a closing? You can see all those metrics after 6 to 12 months. So reverse engineering that, when you're a new agent or in December, we do goals, and it's a 90-minute meeting with me. In December, it's our whole team. And you start with the income that you want to earn. How much do you want to make? Is it 100 grand? Is it 500 grand? What is it? And then you work it backwards and you say, okay, looking at my numbers from last year, I needed 83 conversations to get a closing. So if I want 100 closings, I need 8,300 conversations. So now I can take that 8,300 divided by, let's say I'm going to work 48 weeks this year, and boom, there's my weekly conversation standard. I have to hit that number before I clock out for the week. If I do it by Thursday, I can call it quits and have a 3-day weekend. Awesome. If I don't get it done by Friday, I better show up on Saturday, because that is not a goal. It is a standard. It's a must. It's a have to. And then you work all those numbers in the middle, right? So I know exactly how many listings I need to have, so I get this many under contract, so I get this many closed, so I make this amount of money. And I know how many appointments I need to be able to get that amount of closings, and how many conversations with sellers I need to have to be able to get those amount of appointments. And you can work all that back only if you track it. So when we get a new agent, we're guessing. We're looking at other agents that we've worked with in the past. Where do we think their skill level is? Where do we think their, work ethic is going to be? And then we can start to guess at some of those numbers. But once you've been with us for 6 to 12 months, we've got your data. We can actually see exactly what it takes to get a closing, and we can rework those numbers. So that's the planning portion. But now you got the accountability portion. So we've got that daily deal that you've got to go enter all your stuff into. And then we've got three different things that we use to follow up with that, right? One is every single day, like I said, at 8:30 and 4:30, it's a graphic that my staff puts up. All of us see it. And it says, I told you it says conversations, right? So I've actually got to have 71 conversations a week. It says Joe Rosen on Monday, 0 conversations, goal 71. And then it says how many tasks do I have in my CRM. So it doesn't matter how many tasks do you got in the morning, but in the afternoon, it better say 0. If it doesn't, we're going to pull you off of leads. You're not getting leads anymore. If you want leads, go catch up in your CRM. And it's not a punishment. It's you communicating to me, I can't keep up. Okay, that's fine. Then we're going to pump the brakes on leads. Let me know when you catch up, right? But it also shows you where everybody's at. So if you're slacking, you've got to know that the whole team is watching you put up goose eggs every single day, multiple days in a row, and nobody wants that. So it pushes them a little bit harder to get in and do that. So that's the first thing. The second thing is every Monday we got a sales meeting. Part of that sales meeting agenda is opening up that tracker and saying, okay, we always look at conversations and tasks, but now let's look at how many appointments did we get? How many listings? How many closings? How many offers did we submit? All those different things. And people love it, man. They love seeing when they've got numbers racking up. And then at the end of the meeting, my staff, I always tell them, I want you to pick out one person who did something amazing last week and love them up for about 30 to 45 seconds in front of the whole team. So Jovi always does that, and it's phenomenal, right? And then the last thing we do is the last training of every quarter is a goals review, where we just sit down and we say, hey, I was supposed to have I don't even know what it would be, 900 conversations this quarter, and I had 850. I fell short. Okay, Joe, so what was the problem? I don't know if I was pushing myself as hard as I needed to. I probably could have worked an extra half an hour, 45 minutes every day, and I could have got it done. Okay, so are you committed to your goals? Yeah, I am. Why? Tell me about your why. Well, I want my family to be able to go to Hawaii, and I want to put my kids through college, and I want to retire at 60 instead of 65. Is that more important to you than not having to work an extra half an hour? No. Okay. So are you committed to that? Yes. So we'll have a discussion like that every last training of the quarter. And those three things combined, I think, create about as much accountability as a guy can have.
Yeah. That's amazing because I mean, when you get into real estate, you don't have a boss anymore, right? If you're coming from corporate world or anything, and so a lot of people can get lazy and they can get comfortable, and
Yeah.
so having that accountability in place is amazing.
Yep.
I mean, naturally we want to just not do the hard things and stuff like that. But if you have people hounding you and people counting on you, your why and all of that stuff,
Yeah.
fires me up. I'm like,
Let's go.
let's go.
Yeah, that's right.
I love it. Joe, we're almost out of time here, but do you have any final thoughts about, we can talk to team leaders, any advice for them, and then for people that want to join a team, any advice for them as well? We'll close out.
I would say, as a team leader and a team lead, there's a message here, right? Your success in real estate, if you were to make a nerdy equation, success would equal skills times conversations. So the conversations anybody can do. You got to pick up the phone, knock on doors, hold open houses, whatever. The skills, you've got to go to training, and you can't just go to training. You need a notepad and a pen, and you got to start writing things, and you got to review what it is you write, and you got to test yourself on what you write. You've got to rehearse your listing presentation. You've got to rehearse your 1-minute pitch to a buyer on why they should work with you instead of going straight to the FSBO or the builder. You've got to go to role play. Nobody likes going to role play because, oh my God, what if I say something stupid? You're going to say something stupid. You can either say it in front of me and lose $0, or you can say it in front of a seller and you can lose $11,000. You pick. So what's the message? For a team agent or somebody considering a team, you want to ask them, talk to me about your focus on prospecting. Talk to me about your accountability. Talk to me about how you're going to get conversations in front of me, or you're going to teach me how to get conversations. Talk to me about that. And they better confidently make you feel like they've got a plan. And the second thing is, you want to ask them, what is your training plan? Do you do role play? Do you have a listing presentation that you're going to train me on? And how does the follow-up on that look, right? How often do we do it? As a team leader, if you're not including some of those things, you're racking up agents and you'll get random sales, and that'll give you a little bit of money if that's what your goal is. But you're not truly serving those guys the best you could. Right. And all it takes is skill building, which I think role play is huge, but you've got to do training, and also a focus. The focus above all other focuses is conversations daily. How many are you getting?
Amazing. Mic drop. That was
amazing.
Joe, this is why we bring you back time and time again. You just get us fired up. I mean, you are so well spoken. You have a way of just inspiring and I mean, making me feel like I need to go start a team or something. Because
you don't have to butter me up. I'll come back. I promise.
Awesome. Joe, thank you so much for coming back. Of course, we'll have you again. I am sure of it. But everyone that is watching, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that you got some value out of it today. And for team leaders, or if you're thinking of joining a team, of course, let us know if there's anything else that you want us to cover on the podcast. Comment below. We'll also have our REDX Teams platform linked below for you if you want more information on that. And of course, thank you so much for watching, and we will see everybody next week. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Haley.